basically to see the impact that this has had on the staff, the pandemic has had on staff, on the students, and of course on how we can be able to mitigate in the short term, in the medium term, and even in the long run. But one clear thing that remains is that we have to look for solutions that are going to go beyond the current challenges and, if possible, get prepared for any other pandemic just in case. Now, the observations we made a few observations, about 3 of them or more, especially on improving the efficiency of academic programs and support for faculty. The Kenya and Uganda have introduced a few issues. For example, Kenya, some universities are reorganizing themselves to do away with academic programs. Although this is still debatable, but it's something that to do academic programs which are duplicate and also free zone and technical staff recruitment and so on, and even match departments and so on, so as to be focused, to remain focused. One thing, for example, about Kenya is that the Kenyan universities are facing serious challenges in terms of funding. The funding from government is dwindling, and most of the universities are in red. And therefore, these are because without money, without resources, it is impossible also to bring about the required changes, particularly with the students and so on in academics. Now, in Uganda, we found that they are also abandoning some programs which have got low academic rigor and so on and so forth. Now, another observation we made is that it's important to invest in African research and African researchers so that we can be able to attract more faculty. And one of the key things that has come out is to is to promote databases for both soft and hard materials, the e-repositories, so that we are able to meet the challenges or help the faculty in meeting the challenges that they face in the region. Now, on the impact of COVID-19 on faculty challenges, also the issue of private sector in addressing faculty challenges, and to have a balance between investment in physical and e-resources. So basically, in conclusion, is to say that the homegrown solutions, potential solutions are very much needed here to address the challenges facing faculty, especially in higher education in this region. Although the long-term impacts of these interventions should be taken into consideration. We also had the limitations of replicability. For example, what is happening in Ghana or what is happening in East Africa cannot be replicated in West Africa, cannot be in South Africa or Central Africa, and so on. But those are issues or the limitations that we can look at when we employ our homegrown. But it's important that maybe the way forward is for each region to develop their own homegrown potential solutions so that they do not have to depend on what is happening in other regions or in other countries. Basically, the long-term outcomes of this is to have a shift or shifts in policies which have been identified in government plans and strategies and evidence-informed solutions. And a key one, and which is actually up and running, is the Higher Education Information System, HEISMS, which is domiciled at the Inter-University Council for East Africa. This is a very key one because it will be able to capture all the data from the region in one area. And therefore, if one is interested in having this data of higher education in East Africa, they can easily get it. The reason why this one is very important for us or for this particular study is that the challenges, one of the key challenges that we faced, the data collectors faced in this region was about the data and data management in the region. we found that the data that is in Kenya, the format is presented in Kenya is different from the way it is presented elsewhere in other countries. And even some countries, it's very hard to come by. In fact, one of the countries, the data is kept by the military. You have to get the permission from the military for you to access the data, higher education data, and so on. So the theme that really came out strongly is that the higher education information system should be strengthened for this region, so that this data can be stored in a central place, and anybody who is interested can be able to access this. And this reduces even the amount of resources that is required to collect the data now and again. So if the system is on and operational, anybody can access the data at any time and so on. So basically, this is a work in progress, but we are coming to the tail end of this work. It started in the month of May this year, and I think by December next month, we shall be through and therefore produce the entire report and just share it with us all. So with that, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to me. Asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Dr. Joash, and we are very happy for you to have briefed us about what has been done by the DAF consortium so far. So for those who joined us along the line, Dr. Joash Migosi is the DAF lead researcher and also a senior lecturer at the University of Nairobi, and he has been briefing us about the current research being undertaken by the Demographics of African Faculty Consortium, which is consisting of the Association of African Universities, the Inter-University Council of East Africa, Education Sub-Saharan Africa, and then the Populations Reference Bureau. Earlier, Mr. Samuel Japon had also briefed us about the background to this current study, and he walked us through the Ghana pilot study. I think at this point, I would like to invite Ms. Isaac Pruto to facilitate the Q&A session. I think there were some hands that were up earlier, so this is the time for us to engage with the presenters and to seek any further information. Over to you, Isaac.
Thank you very much, Felicia.
Do we have Isaac while she tries to reconnect? Okay, she's there.
I just started by saying thank you so much to Dr. Joash Migosi and also Samuel Akepong for the insightful presentations. I think we could all see that faculty crisis is real, be it Ghana, be it East Africa. You know, we could see really the high and African research. And Joash even mentioned the need to invest in some databases. And I'm glad that at ESSA we actually have the African Education Research Database that puts together all the publications from African researchers. And we try a lot to shine a light to the work and the research done by African researchers. So I think I had seen a hand from Frida Okeyo. Frida, let me know if you are here. So for the Q&A session, please introduce yourself and who you are directing your question to. We have Dr. Joash and Samuel Akepong, who will be able to respond to our questions. So Frida, let me know if you are here. I can also see Bismarck. So we'll start with Frida and then Bismarck. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm Frida Okeyo from Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology from Kenya. My question goes to the first presenter, Dr.
Samuel Akepong.
Samuel from Ghana. Yeah, okay. First, I want to acknowledge that there is problem when it comes to staffing of faculty in almost every university, be it in Kenya or any other country. I've learned that, and I don't know what is being done, but I hope the governments are working around that. Now, about Ghana, it was really discouraging when it comes to gender, whereby not even even a third is female. Okay, so what are they doing about that? What is the problem? Is it that few women are learned, or what is the problem? And if so, do they even require female faculties from other countries? Thank you. That is my question.
Thank you, Frida. We can take a question from Bismarck, then we can respond.
Okay, thank you very much, Hazel. My name is Dr. Tando Bismarck from Graduate School of Management, Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. Part of my question has been addressed by Frida, so I will just complete it so that Samuel will put the two together. It is very interesting with this presentation and insightful. So I got from the presentation that the job board came about as a result of this research, which is very good. Now, his work is more of action research. That means it doesn't end on the shelves. So it's been 4 years now, because he made mention that the research was done in 2018. Can he maybe give additional information, or since then, what has changed? Has there been any improvement in regards to the situation, or it is still the same as the research or the findings revealed? Thank you.
Thank you, Bismarck. Samuel, if you can please respond to those two questions, the issue of gender, and also what's the progress so far regarding DAF Ghana?
Thank you very much, Aizo. Very insightful questions. And these are questions that I think we asked ourselves even after the analysis in Ghana. And Frida, it will interest you, Frida and Bismarck, it will interest you to know that after this study, it's also led us to undertaking a deeper dive into why women are not in leadership position, or, you know, being in the professorship space when it comes to Ghana. And we realize that it's even across the African region, in terms of even women who are in VC positions or leading universities across the sub-region. And we found interesting results. So your question was around, why are we not finding these women there? And what are we doing in order to promote that? So there were interesting results that came from that study, which I'll be sharing that study in the chat box. So some of the key issues were cultural. Other issues were lack of mentorship and lack of training for women. Also, scholarship came out really strong. And also lack of role models for female faculty members. There were issues which also find itself in cultural links, which were women not having access to the spaces that men have, women not having access to research funding like men, and also generally the promotion policies within universities do not favor women who normally go, let's say, go on maternity and then also come back to join the faculty workforce. So these were challenges that were identified. And some of the recommendations that came out were mentorship programs, deliberate mentorship programs for women, or early career researchers who are women. Also dedicated funding for women researchers within the higher education space, as well as particular deliberate scholarship for women in order to get into higher levels of education. So as we speak, we are working with the Gates Foundation to identify or map researchers, particularly women and also support them in order to get research funding to be able to fund their research in that regard. We're also collaborating with other organizations in order to provide mentorship for women within the higher education space. Coming on to Bismarck's question around what is the current state of the faculty demographics in Ghana, I would say the situation has improved a bit, but yet still there are some challenges that are being faced by faculty members. So the numbers are definitely not the same in terms of the number of faculty members available within and across universities. And also there is a major policy change, which I mentioned in my presentation, that we are working with the Ghana Tertiary Education Council to revise the policy norm for higher education in Ghana. So these are the major changes that has happened over the space of 4 years. I can't speak to numbers now because we've not really done those detailed analysis. So I can't give you particular numbers now, but overall, these are the changes and what we are doing to improve the situation. Thank you very much. And over to you, Isa.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Just checking if there are more questions. We still have around 11 minutes. So you can raise your hand. Alternatively, you can just post your question on a chat. Samuel, you could also post that study on women, the state of women leadership on chat for people to just get the reasons why we have less women in higher education. Great, thank you, Samuel. Are there more questions, comments, suggestions? I can't see any hand up. Okay, it seems the presentation was really good and everyone has gotten the gist of the matter. That is DAF crisis in Ghana and also East Africa. And so allow me to take it back to Felicia to give us the closing remarks if there are no more questions.
Thank you very much, Aisel. I think I also don't see any hand up. So it's been a very great session. Just to touch on the issue of the women, which was raised earlier, the issue of, us recording low percentage in terms of the women faculty. And just to mention that there are so many initiatives that are happening, at the continental level. The Association of African Universities has the Women in Higher Education Network. ESSA has its own key programs that it is doing, which is focused on, promoting women engagement and trying to also get women to climb to the top. There are so many other institutions as well. I know IUCA, I know there is also the Forum for African Women Educationalists. So many initiatives are really going in to ensure that our women are empowered and our women are also moving up. And we are very hopeful that in the next few years, we should be able to see a 50-50%, ratio, or we should be able to getting close to the, a figure around that ratio. So just to thank all of you for staying throughout the presentation. And I agree with Aisel when she said the presenters really delve deep in the issues such that we all understood it and we're all able to come up to a level where we understand what the study is about and what its key outputs has been. I think as we have noticed from the presentations, the consortium is focusing on action-based research, where we are not only producing research that will publish or that would end up on shelves, but we are actually following through, engaging the various partners, co-creating solutions such that as we've been asked, such that in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, we really should be able to go back and do a follow-up study and be able to report the actual change that happened since the time that we undertook the research. So I think it's been a very great session, and we appreciate all of you staying on, and we should be sharing, just like we have the final research report from the Ghana study, we should be able to share the final findings from the phase 2, I think, as Joash mentioned, by end of year this year also. So once it's ready, we do have this mailing list, and we'll be sure to share it with all the participants from this session, as well as actually share it widely, because we believe that for other regions, they can as well learn something from this study and be able to see what they can tailor to suit their region, or how they can also engage key stakeholders from the government and from all other stakeholders, so that the right things are done in terms of improving the efficiency of academic programs, and also in terms of investing in African faculty and making sure that we are having the required number, the required quality, and the required, quantity of faculty to be able to educate the students that we are producing and that we are churning out as African higher education. I think that will bring us to the end of this session. We want to appreciate all of you for staying through. Just a quick announcement that we make at all the sessions concerning the upcoming Conference of Rectors, Vice Chancellors, and Presidents being organized by the Association of African Universities. This is holding in year 2023 in July, and there's a call for hosts as well as a call for papers that we have posted on our platforms, on our website, on our blog, on our social media pages. But I'll be sure to post it here in the chat once I'm done. And we are inviting we are calling for papers from all stakeholders under the various sub-themes. So people are invited to submit papers for this conference as well. I think that will bring us to the end of this session. Immediately after this session, we have the second half, which will be the final event for today's event, marking the African Universities Day celebration. And this would feature a presentation from eLearn Africa and the AAU team, of course, and is on the theme Online Program Management, and it's 100% online degree programs, and it's starting just in 5 minutes. So I would like to formally close our session as I hand over to Ms. Naomi Darko, who would be the facilitator for the second half of today's program. So we thank all of you so much, and we encourage you to stay on for the rest of the program. I think that would also take about an hour or so. We are very grateful to all our presenters, Dr. Samuel Ejapon and Dr. Joash Migosi, for your presentation, and to all the participants for staying through, for engaging with us, and for all your questions. We are very grateful. So this is a very big thank you, and it's bye-bye from us from the DAF team, which is composed of the Association of African Universities, Inter-University Council of East Africa, ESSA, Education Sub-Saharan Africa, and then PRB. Thank you very much. I think I would hand over to Naomi to take over and facilitate the next session, since it's just starting in 5 minutes. Over to you, Naomi. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Felicia, for moderating the DAF session. It went very well, and I think I at least got to know a lot or more information about the demographics of African faculty projects here being handled in partnership with AAU, IUCA, and of course, ESSA. I would like to officially welcome you to the second session of this event, the Day 4 of the African Universities Day celebrations. We will be taking some presentations from the AAU eLearn Africa LMS team. Just a brief bio before I welcome all of the presenters or speakers for the session. AAU LMS is the only intuitive, visually based e-learning classroom developed for and with African universities. It is easy to use and visually based design and deployment interface, and that prioritizes the functions required by African universities. The instructor toolkit makes course design and presentation simple for professors. The virtual classroom promotes thoughtful participation, learning review for mastery, and collaborative assignments and grading. plug-and-play delivery to desktops and mobile device is optimized for on-demand and low-cost ecosystem. Please stay tuned as I welcome the AAU eLearn Africa team. On that program, I'd like us to go through the program outline. So the theme for the events today is Online Program Management, OPM, 100% online degree programs. We will take opening remarks from the speaker, of course, and then we'll take the presentation right after the remarks by Mr. Brooke Negusi, who is the CEO of eLearn Africa. We'll have some question and answer session, which of course we mostly call the Q&A session. And then we'll take a group photo and close the event. Hopefully it will take about an hour or an hour and a half for us to finish with this event. So I'd like to please hold on a minute. Sorry about that. In the meantime, while we wait for the LMS, AAU eLearn Africa LMS team to put themselves together, of course, I would like us to listen to the AAU anthem once again, and then we'll officially begin the session. Thank you all so much for sticking and staying with us throughout.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Isaac, Esther, I guess if we start with the presentation, I'd really appreciate it.
Okay.
And I noticed that the name handle on mine is Esther. No, I'm not Esther. My name is Brooke Neguse. I'm the founder and CEO for eLearn Africa, eLearn Africa LMS, and very happy to have everybody on today's Zoom. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Neguse. I wanted to properly introduce you before you appear in the camera. So let me just do that. Yes, let me just do that briefly. Mr. Brooke Neguse is a lifelong social entrepreneur dedicated to promoting technology access. And over the past 15 years, Mr. Neguse has held leadership roles in international technology companies. This work has included telecommunications, satellite communications, media, and social networks. His business experience has been clearly defined by his efforts to provide learning resources to school children across Africa using satellite radio and internet connectivity. He began eLearn Africa because of his commitment to expanding educational opportunities to underserved communities. Through his vision, eLearn Africa is aimed at making world-class locally relevant educational materials and learning resources available to students throughout the African continent by harnessing technology and social media networking. Without further ado, I'd like to officially welcome Mr. Neguse to take the floor to do his presentation on the theme for today's program. Thank you.
And thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. So if we can go ahead and start off with the presentation, that would be wonderful.
You can go ahead.
Okay. I believe technically somebody is uploading it. Isaac or Esther, do you want to start off with the presentation? Wonderful. All right. I guess we can go to the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa. Entered into an agreement in 2016, and the idea was to find resources and how to create online technology to enable education. The partnership really got started in 2017, and since then, eLearn Africa and AAU were able to build out what we call the AAU eLearn Africa LMS. And next slide, please. eLearn Africa also began what we call the online program management. This is the premier online learning company dedicated to supporting the digital transition of university education in Africa. The suite of eLearn Africa learning systems are fully integrated and accessible across desktop and mobile platforms. eLearn Africa also offers a full spectrum of what we call finance services and products for the design, development, and deployment of online degrees. Success through an important variety of partnership and experience with strategic and operational actors has been part of our success. Next slide. eLearn Africa online program management. Again, I think my apologies, everyone. I think we have a bit of a problem with these slides, but we're good right now. So if we can go to the that's perfect. Actually, I'm just going to go off the slide and just talk about some of our success and let the slides do the talking. The online program management is something what we have concentrated on over the last few years, which is on how to design online degrees by African universities for African students so that online degrees are relevant from a Pan-African continental perspective. And what we're seeing a lot is that we've noticed that a lot of online learning has always been just imported. And so we decided that building online degrees with African universities and making them the same grade, if not better, than UK online degrees or US online degrees was something we had to invest in. Over the last year, we've entered into a partnership agreement with several universities, most notably University of Nigeria, Nexus International University, and I believe just recently Rhodes University to build a Master's in Business Administration. Over the course of the last year and a half, we also deployed our learning management system, and this was something we launched a year ago with the AAU, and we were able to bring on board about 97 institutions throughout the continent. And the LMS was designed in a way that it would aid professors in creating online content. So today's theme is obviously about online content and the digital transformation of universities and being able to create online degrees and the importance of it. And the importance of it is that it allows students to continue their education. It allows for universities to interact. And I believe it's been proven statistically that you spend more time with your students in online education on a one-on-one basis than you would in class from a contact hour perspective. Can we go to the next slide, please? Next slide. Next slide, sorry. So this is a mere example from the University of Burundi of an online education that they created. And if we can look at the previous slide, this is something that the LMS will also show you, which is specifically that we've had success with multiple students being able to, there we go, 424 students being able to use the AAU eLearn Africa LMS system for their online education. Next slide. I guess let's just go to the third slide. Yep. You'll find that the AAU eLearn Africa LMS also has Zoom integrated. Next slide. This is testimonials from students that have used the AAU eLearn Africa LMS. Next slide. The next slide. And that's professors. I guess I wanted to really concentrate more on the online program management on today's call and really explain what online program management means for universities and really understanding where we're going as a continent with online education and the fact that we've seen a heavy investment with private companies, private institutions to create online universities and why the world is descending on the continent of Africa. So I guess you could say I'm a big proponent on the universities, our universities creating this content and really making the learning environment based on our content because I think that's where we have relevance from. So if I may just open up right now to and just go to questions and answers, and so that we're more interactive in today's call. Does anybody have any questions about online education, I guess, and creating online degrees?
I see that Dr. Faith Mgomezulu is connected. I don't know if she has any questions.
Yes, thank you, but I've just joined. I still have to find out where we are now.
Hi, Dr. Faye. I decided that basically I would go through the presentation rather quickly so that we can have more of an interaction and a conversation about the importance of online degrees being built by African universities, as we are seeing a lot from the private industry descending on throughout the continent of Africa with online degrees. And if we look at any online degrees right now, we see them that they're mostly from other universities from Europe or the US, and why it's really important for us to start creating online degrees from universities within Africa.
Professor Orlando Kilambo is also online. He's a board member of the AAU, so he might also have comments to make about online degrees for Africa.
Okay. Well, I think everybody's kind of on mute.
Thank you, Nodumo. Yes, this is Dr. Faith. I think it is. I think it would be of benefit for African universities to have online degrees. This would assist our universities to diversify our program offering modalities, and then to increase our reach to students who would not otherwise have access to some of the programs if they were to attend face-to-face. And then two, it can also promote cross-cultural interactions if then we are able to reach to students of different cultures through the online platforms. And three, it can also promote the sharing of programs across universities. The online platform is making it possible for our individual institutions to tap into programs for other institutions through partnerships, and thereby enlarge our reach. I think that is what I can forward as of now, which I feel is more beneficial.
I appreciate your
institutions. Thank you.
Dr. Faye, I appreciate your insight. I guess the question I have for the forum and for the participants is about online education. If we may, what is about online education that we fear as an institution? And generally, the first thing that we hear of is that online education will divert students from not coming to campus. But overall, if we said, what is, if I may ask just everybody and anybody that wants to just start the discussion, what is it about online education throughout our universities that the first concern we have when we say online education. I think, yes.
Can I raise
yes,
my
go ahead.
question?
Yes, Professor, please.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm so impressed with this lecture. Highly impressed. Africa is moving forward. Now, my question may appear to be personal. There is something I have not tried with my students. I teach mathematics. I'm a mathematics educator in the university. There is something I have not tried, and you are moving me to try it immediately. I want to be able to organize various houses without necessarily bringing them into the lecture room. And we do the needful, conclude the lesson, and they submit assignment and do any practical we want to do online. Can you send me a guide that I can follow step by step to achieve that process? I'll be so glad. I'll be so glad. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Amos. And in the chat, please share your email address, and Esther or Isaac will definitely send you information on how to. And I really appreciate your insight again.
Beautiful.
I appreciate it.
Beautiful. God bless.
Likewise, thank you. Does anybody else have any comments with regards to what our initial instincts or fears are about online education first, and how we move forward with building online content?
Yeah, my name is Bismarck Tando, calling from Abidjan or from Abidjan. My question is, I really enjoyed your presentation, but I want to get a better understanding. What role will your organization be playing? Is it you are providing the platform and the universities will host or run their programs on it?
Yes, so Bismarck, we work with the universities in I guess in two approaches. If it's our learning management system, it's just our learning management system. Today's call really is about online program management, which is helping with the instructional design of online learning and creating an online degree with the university. So we actually work with your professors and creating the online program. We build it onto an LMS, we deploy it with you. And throughout the process, we basically make sure that most universities do not have the capacity for the financing of it. We finance it for the university. So we basically create a turnkey online degree for your university.
So if I may come with a follow-up, is it a platform that is customized for each university, or
yes,
it is a general platform that everybody will, or each school will have to use?
So the content, the platform is specifically, if we're building a degree for you, it will be specific for your university. If you're using the AU eLearn Africa LMS, it is also white labeled so that it shows only your logo with the AU eLearn Africa LMS. And that's primarily for short modules on the AU eLearn Africa LMS. Again, today, the distinction of between online degrees and creating the AU eLearn Africa LMS for short courses and also staying in touch with your students are the distinct differences. But online degrees, yes. It would be specific to the university.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
I think there is a question in the chats, Brooke.
Okay.
From Sheila Ram. It says, need for a single unified regulatory framework for online degrees and quality assurance approaches. how does content sharing work? The question from Sheila Ram, if I got the name right.
Oh, I see it. Okay. I guess from a regulatory framework, each country has their own regulatory framework, and I guess this is more of a question to the AAU because we're more technology as opposed to regulatory. From a content sharing perspective, if you are looking at it, there's, I guess, multiple ways of approaching this. If you're looking at sharing content of an online degree that you built, or just core modules with university networks through the AAU, you're able to. And we have that platform built. So I think from a regulatory perspective, though, that is more of a question. And I know this specifically from certain countries that it is dealt by each country.
Okay. And I saw Professor Dauda raise his hand. I don't know. Professor Dauda?
Yes, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me because my network is fluctuating here. I just want to contribute to the importance of the e-learning. Something I noticed, especially here in Nigeria, is that it makes learning very possible to people whose nature of work cannot permit them to go to university on full time to study.
Yes.
Most of especially people who are working in the banks, you know, their exigencies of the work cannot permit them to go on full-time studies in the universities. So when the e-learning came on board, it enables most of them now to further their studies, to acquire much more degrees. And secondly, it is also helpful to the physically challenged people, those that may not be able to walk into the university campuses to register and undergo one or more studies, so they can now be involved in the e-learning process or online studies, and makes it possible for them also to acquire degrees and the higher qualifications. This is just my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And that's interesting because one of the most recent market research reports on online education, especially for Masters in Business Administration, is that there's definitely a latent demand throughout the continent. And it works out to be about 2.3 million people that are looking for online degrees for an MBA in English, right? So there's definitely a demand. Like you said, professionals are generally the ones that don't have the capacity to quit their jobs to be able to go do a master's program. And as we know, to quit your job and move is another conundrum on its own. So does anybody have any questions in how the online degrees are built? And I guess we could talk more about if there's any questions with regards to learning management systems. Oh, I see a question with Sheila Ram. What is the cost involved when you develop the degree? It depends, and again, it all depends on how many modules in a degree. So from a cost basis, it varies. Every degree is done differently. So if a degree is 100% online or if it's blended, the costs vary. So that's one of the most difficult questions to answer specifically, because once you say a number out loud, then you're held by everybody, therefore. But the numbers do vary. Right. Question from Cyprian. How can a university with an e-learning program benefit from this initiative? What is the difference between open distance learning and online education? A university with an e-learning program can automatically benefit by being able to share their content on the AU eLearn Africa LMS, so that this way your outreach could be throughout the AU network of 400 plus universities, and I believe 97 of them are using the AU eLearn Africa LMS. The difference between open distance learning and online education, not much difference. I guess it's terminology, and we're learning that there's terminology that's overused. The main difference with a lot of traditional open distance learning that we've reviewed is that it is typical asynchronous programming. So it is they've not been updated. There have not been any interaction or gamification of the content. That's a great question, because we can look at it in a couple of paradigms. One is you can build your content so that you can have it blended and online, or you can build your content so that you can have some asynchronous and some synchronous programs so that you have live sessions with your students. So from traditional open distance learning that we've seen that's been available throughout the continent, I would say the new online education system, or the model that we're presenting, is more interactive with the student. Again, a question from Sheila Ram, who provides the content? The content is provided by the university. A question from Faith, what is the advantage of using the AU LMS as opposed to an institutional e-learning platform? The advantage of the AU eLearn Africa LMS is that we built it really to fit our realities. It was in consultation with many universities as we were designing and building the learning management system. There are no costs to the university. There is a yearly cost to the mobile application, which the student pays, or there's a small licensing fee in some countries where students don't pay for it. It's just a small licensing fee by the university. So it is considerably less expensive than a Moodle would be in terms of maintaining. These are excellent questions. Okay, I guess for the next part is if we're discussing online learning, how many people have actually seen an online degree presented from a Western university? And I guess we could do maybe a hands up on the Zoom. Okay. So so a lot of us have not been exposed to it. Sheila Ram has a question. Please go right ahead. No. Okay. So I think in overall, I wanted to just thank everybody, but I don't want
to. I think there's a number of questions in the chat.
Yes, I think they are being answered as well. So my apologies. How do they compare with Blackboard? And if we said very different than Blackboard. Blackboard is something where you would deploy a full online degree, where the AU eLearn Africa LMS was designed to be professor-centric and to be able to create online content with ease. So if you remember during the pandemic at the height, a lot of professors were creating YouTube videos, creating WhatsApp chat groups, but didn't have content repository. So if you look at the AU eLearn Africa LMS, it was designed so that it was intuitive for a lot of professors to be able to upload their content, create their cohort list upload, create a function for them to for assessment and deploy. So yeah, very different than Blackboard from a cost-based perspective. I believe Blackboard licenses are much more expensive than the AU eLearn Africa LMS. In terms of features, I guess I think for Sheila Ram, I think Esther, if we can exchange email addresses and do a full display of the AU eLearn Africa LMS, that'd be great. So, Nadumo, I think you're still online, yes? Oh. Dr. Adil, how about accreditation? Again, the accreditation is by the university. Again, when it comes to the academic and accreditation regulatory, that is purely in line with the university. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. We'll definitely get in touch. Isaac, I'd like to open up for last questions, if we may, and let everybody have a great afternoon if we have no more questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Negusi, or you are Mr. I want to be sure of your title.
No.
Anyways, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And I do hope that everyone has been answered in terms in respect to the questions that were shared in the chat box.
Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. If there are no further questions, I'd like to thank each and everyone for joining in the session. This has been the AAU eLearn Africa LMS session of Day 4 of the African Universities Day celebrations. Tomorrow will be our main celebrations. Tomorrow's event is very, very packed, and I hope that we all will make it a point to be there. The link will be shared with us via mails, and so you should look forward to seeing the link in your various mails as we send out the reminder. So tomorrow we'll have an opening remarks by the Secretary General of the Association of African University, Professor Olusola Oyewole, the President of the Association of African Universities, Excellency Professor Osman Said Bakri Said would also give remarks. He will also give opening remarks, and then we'll take some few presentations from some of our partner organizations that helped us in putting together this packed and informative program lineup for the celebrations. And then we'll take a few closing remarks as well from the President, from the Secretary General, and then we'll bring the session to an end. We look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, high valued stakeholders, for making time, into the eLearn Africa team for joining us in celebrating the African Universities Day. We look forward to seeing your participation tomorrow. Thank you so much. My name is Naomi Dako, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you, Naomi. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, everyone.